Then there is acceptance authority, which relates to the moral and relational. That is its nature, moral, relational. And this one is earned through sacrifice, consistency, competence, and character. And I want us to be deeply engaged. The good thing with this class, we are not pressurized with how much amount of work we need to cover, but the understanding and the application. So moral and relational authority or acceptance authority is gained through sacrifice, consistency, competence, and character. And is magnitude of stability, is deep, is enduring, is influence-based. And I want us to pause there and do some internal reflection of our own. I don't know how many of you on this call see Ayiro as a vice chancellor or see Ayiro as a professor in the classroom. So I don't know. And I just want you to reflect on that for a while, a short while. What do you see yourself? Now, at Daystar University or in our context, as in any mission-driven institution, this distinction is particularly salient because leadership is not merely administrative. It is moral, it is spiritual, it is exemplary. Let me give you 2 minutes to juggle with those ideas in your mind. The distinction between office authority and acceptance or moral authority.
All right.
So really, and that's why I told you we are sitting in a class of formation. This is a class of formation. We want to see something different being born by the time we finish this class on leadership. And I'm saying the distinction is salient. So if you were to appoint somebody into leadership, suppose you are the authority, and you are looking for a minister for education in the Republic of Kenya, you know that office of the Minister for Education in Jogo House has statutes, and you'll give a letter. And of course, they must meet the qualification. Maybe they have a master's or a PhD degree. So you appoint somebody X. Then somebody else appoints Professor Olive Mugenda as a Minister for Education. Note the difference. That office is earned through sacrifice, consistency. She was able to do what she did in Kenyatta University, for example, competence and character. So the question you'll be asking yourself is whether that appointee will be influence-based. And what is the influence? I'm sure the influence is not because she has a PhD. Let us look at the nature of office authority. Office authority is derived from governance frameworks, appointment letters, and institutional constitutions. So the vice chancellor appoints directors, deans, and the people who run the university. I emphasize it is legitimate and necessary. Very legitimate and necessary. And the spiritual grounding of office authority is in Romans 13:1, which says there's no authority except that which God has established. And Hebrews 13:17, obey your leaders and submit to them, for they keep watch over your souls. So, the authority ensures order, accountability, and direction. Without it, institutions fragment into informal power clusters. However, position authority alone does not generate followership. It compels compliance, not necessarily conviction. And that's why all of us on this earth must know the aspect of leadership determines everything from the house, from your home, to wherever you are exercising that authority. Let us look at the nature of acceptance authority or moral authority. Acceptance authority emerges when those led willingly grant influence on the leader because they have witnessed the following. So, in fact, it is the led that cause momentum in the leader. They grant influence on the leader because they have witnessed the following. Look at those aspects. And we are going to pause there. And all of us, right from the home, have we witnessed? Do we witness? If that is so, then that is moral authority. Sacrifice, work ethic, personal integrity, consistency between speech and action, and stewardship under pressure. It is not demanded. It is conferred. And ladies and gentlemen, that's why at Daystar we do integration of faith into learning. You can see the significance of it, that each of you will struggle not to demand for leadership, but to be proclaimed as the leader. What is the scriptural grounding of this aspect of leadership that Ayiro is trying to bring up, of moral authority? Just as an archetype, Mark 10:45. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. John 13:14-15, Jesus washing the disciples' feet. At Daystar, during graduation, we do that. We sample graduates and we wash their feet. Christ possessed divine office authority. If there's anybody who had that power, it was him. He possessed divine office authority. Yet he established acceptance, authority through sacrificial service. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm putting it to you. For you to be an impactful leader on this earth, strive to serve and sacrifice. So that is Jesus as the ultimate. How about Nehemiah's model, which we talked about last time? Nehemiah 4:23 says, neither I nor my brothers took off our clothes. Each had his weapon. Nehemiah 5:14-18, he refused the governor's allowance. Nehemiah had imperial office authority from the Persian king. Yet his moral authority arose because he worked alongside the people and denied himself privileges. I always tell my management, those China cups that we are served in coffee and people toiling with mandazis and sausages to bring to management, is not for you. That China cup is not for you. You only deserve the plastic cup, the styrofoam cup. That cup is for the position you hold. And once that position is gone, forget about that. So the people followed Nehemiah not merely because he was appointed, but because he sacrificed. I want all of us in this journey of formation as leaders to embrace the virtue of sacrifice. Paul's apostolic defense. 1 Thessalonians 2:9. We worked night and day so that we would not be a burden. And in 2 Corinthians 11:23-28, catalog of suffering is listed there. So Paul defended his apostleship not through title, but through toil. So long after this, you graduated with your master's and PhD, I want you to remember me for something different other than a vice chancellor. Yeah. That will not mellow my heart when I'm retired as an old man. I want you to remember me for attributes that demonstrated moral authority. And that is that he was a man who sacrificed. He had a very strong work ethic. He had personal integrity to be able to move the institution or to get us to graduate. He was consistent between what he said and what he did. And even under pressure, he still was a good leader. Note that he was a vice chancellor who was driven in a V8 with bodyguards. The tension at Daystar. In a Christian university, this tension manifests when leaders rely primarily on title rather than visible effort. And I'm finding this very interesting the more I pray about it. If there is anybody malingering in Daystar, I don't have to write letters. It will just come out. And today, the biggest burden I've put on everybody is to ask them, what is your contribution? What is your contribution? This is not a university where you're complaining about payment, salary. You're not complaining about your pension. You're not complaining about your insurance. You're not complaining about your SACCO contributions. But what I'm asking you is, what is your contribution? And you don't say your contribution. So, Ayiro, I don't say my contribution. It will just come out. Somebody will say, my cousin or my uncle is in your class for Masters in Leadership and Policy Studies. That is contribution. Or somebody will say, my God, now that it has rained in Daystar, your trees were dying. This place is looking beautiful. That is contribution. You don't speak it. It pronounces itself. So, the tension manifests when leaders rely primarily on title rather than visible effort. I find it, in fact, nowadays I find it very hard to go somewhere and everybody's saying Professor Ayiro. No, I don't need that title to be acknowledged. I just say I'm Ayiro, and that's it. Faculty or administrators resist positional authority unless it is morally validated. Morally validated. And what I have done in my leadership at Daystar, this is where I've been pushing. And I do that by not using office authority. I don't write warning letters. No, I don't write circulars unless they are routine circulars. I don't. And I tell my people here that in leadership, as a principal of high schools in Kenya, as a provincial director of education, as a vice chancellor now, I have never interdicted one person in my life. Neither issued a warning letter. Some people call it weakness. I ask them, have I succeeded in my leadership or not? And what I'm pushing, what I'm trying to say is this. We are trying to to overcome this tension where leaders rely primarily on title rather than visible effort. But also there's this tension of faculty or administrators resist position authority unless it is morally validated. But I like the last bullet. Staff equate leadership legitimacy with demonstrable sacrifice. So wewe utarukaruka tu. You can drop in ethnicity, tribalism, you can run around, but demonstrable sacrifice is what people like to see. And that's what I've done. And you can only do that if you are a living example of that. So that the person trying to play ethnicity will be redundant, will not be legitimate. And what happens with this type of leadership, when you meet this, you don't write more internal memos and warnings, and no. You just double your effort at sacrificing. I hope today, Dr. Mwaka, you have released the first 60 proposals back. I have another 15. That's what we are talking about. So if somebody else is dancing like a frog to other things out there, let them continue dancing. Now, the institutional risk is this: office authority without moral authority breeds quiet resistance. Ni mkubwa. Huyo ni mkubwa. When they see you, they keep quiet. But in their hearts of hearts, they are asking, what is your contribution? So moral authority without structural authority breeds informal power struggles. And healthy leadership integrates both. The value of effort and work in effective leadership. I know that work produces credibility. Ecclesiastes 9:10, whatever your hands or your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. Personally, what I enjoy most is what I'm doing now with you, not being a vice chancellor. I just enjoy like my class on leadership. Like now I'm feeling very good in my class in research methods, the disciplined inquiry, we're winding up. Your chapter ones are coming back. We will do chapter 2, we'll do chapter 3, and that's how I'll grade you. That's how we shall grade you. That's what I enjoy most. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. And ladies and gentlemen, visible effort communicates seriousness. So I told my estates manager in the amphitheater at the river, right there, this is Daystar. What was I communicating? This is a serious university. But you don't say this is Daystar, and when people look around, they don't see anything. What I see at your gates of institutions, this is a corruption-free zone. This is a center of excellence. And even just as I enter the gate, even the simple effort of honoring nature by planting flowers is not there. Visible effort communicates seriousness. In a private institution like ours, productivity underwrites sustainability. And I can give a 1-hour lecture on this one, using this as an example. Productivity underwrites sustainability. So today we are a very stable, sustainable institution And I know why. Because we are in a productivity mode. And effort signals stewardship. So work produces credibility. Number two, work generates moral authority. Moral authority is the cumulative residue of disciplined effort. In Colossians 2:23, again, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord. So work becomes worship. Work becomes worship. And leadership becomes a testimony. So when leaders work visibly and diligently, their directives carry weight beyond hierarchy. You know, I don't have to tell people work hard. I don't want to tell people that anything you do, design it for delight in Daystar. I don't have to. No. When leaders work visibly and diligently, their directives carry weight beyond hierarchy. Work demonstrates sacrificial commitment. Philippians 2:5-8. Christ made himself nothing. I love that. Christ made himself nothing. So sacrifice does what? It legitimizes leadership claims. So the other day, when I was in the US for fundraising and for the conference for Christian universities, I decided to go to my alma mater, Texas A&M University. We drove there. And by the way, one of my students in Cohort 2, Walter Mongare, was the one driving me in the US. Unbelievable. What a gift he is. And we went to Texas. So when I went to Texas A&M, I went to what is called the bookstore, where they have all these gifts and what. Then I thought, but what can I do for my people in my office? And I was with the director, resource mobilization. So I asked her, how many are we in my office? So she started counting. I got scared because there were now more than 10 people. And my heart had told me, I want to buy them each a very nice, expensive T-shirt labeled Texas A&M. So she was helping me with the sizes. I won't tell you how much they cost me. I decided to make myself nothing to please my immediate community. So in this ecosystem called Daystar, sacrifice may manifest as personal oversight of projects, presence in classrooms. This is a very interesting story. When I was the deputy director at KICD, don't know how many of you know KICD. I was the senior deputy director to Dr. Lydia Nzomo. And what happened is that I just got tired of routine, carrying files. So I was offered a job at Moi University. So I came home in Keleleshu and went to see Agnes when she was Agnes. Now she's sick. She's not quite Agnes. When she was Agnes, and I told her, you know, I'm going to Moi University. She told me, you are the most stupid man. And I'm asking God, is this the man of all men on this earth, this is the one you thought I should marry. She was so upset. You are a senior deputy director. Nzomo is about to retire. You have a car, you have a driver, now you want to go into those dirty lecture halls at Moi to teach. She lamented and told God, of all men, this is the one you gave me. But now we look back, and even her, she looks back and says, so this is what God was saying. So, presence in classrooms, financial prudence, that's what sacrifice means. You can imagine if you're a vice chancellor and we have about 400 workers, and each is taking care of 10 people, those are 4,000 people, and you don't have financial prudence, so they don't have a salary to take home. Their circles are not running. Their pension is not moving. Really? Is that sacrificial leadership? Willingness to endure criticism for institutional good. I have had my share. Some of you know when we were starting the chapel, chapel has been waited for 50 years. So when you start, then you get all the questions. Why are you putting up a chapel? Only 1,500. We want a chapel of 3,000. And who said you should be the one starting the chapel? You get all that, but you must endure and ask God to do the rest. Effort builds institutional culture. Culture forms around what leaders consistently do, not what they proclaim. Proverbs 27:23, be diligent to know the state of your flocks. So when you see your chapter ones are not coming back, don't think I'm sleeping comfortably. I'm very disturbed. But at the same time, I must make sure that I do what is right. I literally look at every one of those chapters. Then I'll do it with chapter 2, we'll do it with chapter 3, and give you a mark that you deserve. When leaders model diligence, faculty also mirror diligence. Students internalize seriousness. They know this is a serious university. This is a serious lecturer. And administrative systems tighten to deliver and delight our customers. So I'm saying this effort is contagious. I had a colleague at Sunshine School, Ngugi. Both of us were teaching chemistry. And Ngugi was so immersed in his chemistry classes that he forgot one of the most fundamental things, and that was to marry early. He was so absorbed in chemistry, he forgot about a wife until we conspired. Me and Kalwai and other head of guidance and counseling, we conspired and gave him enough days and raised money for him to have a wedding. And thank God he has a wonderful family today. Effort is contagious. Moral authority as leadership capital. Moral authority functions as stability capital in crisis. People will trust you. Trust capital in change management. That's what I'm trying to build as I get into my transition period from Days Time, the coming 2-3 years. I'm building trust capital to manage change so that there's no turbulence. Influence capital in reform and spiritual capital in Christian institutions. That's why I have told chaplaincy we must have virtual Bible study for postgraduate students. Nobody is too big for scripture. It is more authority as leadership capital. It is slow to build and very quick to lose if you are not careful. So the leader at Daystar, and you are products of Daystar, must exercise office authority decisively, clarity, structure, governance, but cultivate acceptance authority sacrificially through effort, consistency, and faithfulness. This is the Nehemiah synthesis, commissioned by the king, accepted by the people, accountable to God. That's what we are trying to look for in this course in leadership. And the final scripture anchor is Luke 16:10. Whoever is faithful in little is faithful also in much. Matthew 7:20, by their fruits you will know them. So authority sustained by fruit endures, and authority sustained only by position eventually erodes away. So my concluding proposition, this is both a devotion, an integration of faith, but also solid leadership principles. At Daystar, office authority grants the right to lead. You don't have to do the interview, pass to become a vice chancellor. Acceptance authority grants the power to influence. Moral authority sustains the legitimacy to endure. So effort and sacrificial work are not administrative details. They are theological imperatives and leadership necessities. Effort and sacrificial work. Leadership that works, sacrifices, and remains accountable before God transforms compliance into conviction. So it is not saa ya kufika ofisini ni saa mbili. No, it's conviction. My desk is full of work. I'll be in the office at 6. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with thanksgiving for this opportunity to reflect on godly leadership, that we are put into offices by authority, by appointment, but our success in those offices will heavily depend on the effort and the sacrifice we put in as we lead our homes, as we lead our institutions, and as we lead fellow human beings. And so, Father, we thank you for this opportunity to interact with your word around leadership in this course. And that, Lord, this course may truly cause formation in our students beyond the degree there is so much desire for. For I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Yes. So I would like to open this for discussion because we are already into the class on leadership. And today I'm going to build on the constructs of leadership based on authorities in leadership and, of course, scripture. Yes, Gibson Gashago.
Good evening.
To you.
I think
today I've really been educated on this thing, on the difference between moral authority and office authority. The fact that you know, you don't have to struggle to get people to listen, or you don't have to use the office that you have to get people to listen, because they just listen by default. On that note, I remember you coming to my high school with a blue Peugeot 406 from KICD to give a talk one
Yeah.
day. And I wish I knew you were in such turmoil, because we really looked up to that. And I think you've taught me something, that nobody should ever settle. However much you think you've made it, you shouldn't settle, because many of us would think to be a principal of Sunshine means you've already reached the apex. To be a regional director means you've already reached there. To be a PA maybe to somebody like Saitoti means you've already attained more than most people will ever attain. To be at KIC. But you see, human beings must not settle. God did not build us to settle. He built us He created us to go from one glory to another. And there's a verse that says, I think this is Romans 15:15. It says, the grace of God, by the grace of God, I am who I am. And this grace was not given in vain. God given these blessings to us in vain. He's given these blessings to us, knowing that he intends for us to make maximum use of these blessings. So gives you a lot. He expects so much from you. If he gives you whatever he gives you to whatever level, it does not mean that now I am at this level, I cannot go further, or I am settled. It's like the parable of the rich man who had a very big harvest, and then he sat down and he said, now I'm looking at my things and I'm seeing mahindi iko kwa gorogoro mingi ziko kwa nini. Now I can relax and say everything. That's not how God programmed us to be. And I think that's one thing that every young person should aspire to be. We should aspire to be hungry and foolish, always thinking nobody is at the apex.
Yeah.
And no, as long as you are alive, you are not at the apex of what you can do. You can always do something. Thank you.
Wow, Gibson, thank you. You seem to have traced my life quite a bit. Okay. Caroline Odur. And we need a lot of participation here, because this is the nature of this class. This is leadership. Yes. Caroline
Thank you
Odur.
very much.
Yes, then
Professor.
Sylvester. Yeah.
I want to comply with Gibson that we should keep on growing, but remain green, never to ripen, because the moment we ripen, we will rot and become useless. Thank you very much, because I am a testimonial to your leadership, Professor. And one of the most beautiful things that has ever happened to me is coming to Daystar, then meeting you as a leader and as those many, many titles that we might talk about, but above them all is as a mentor and a leader with purpose. All these moves that you are making, I'm very sure, very, very sure that they are attached to your purpose, because that is how God works in his divine space. So could you please relate to us that? How does it, is there a way this meets with your purpose? Because I believe it does. And then the other question I wanted to pose is from our text, from chapter 3 of the class text, whereby you talked to us about the seasons of growth in leadership, in institutional leadership. where you presented the 5 seasons, where being the first one being season of growth, followed by consolidation, transition, disquiet season, and reinvention. So while you are in your journey in Daystar, which of these seasons have you experienced and how are they? Otherwise, thank you very much. We are really growing in your hands.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A very composite, I don't think there were questions. It's just reflecting on the content of what we have said. But let me tell you something. What you need in life is an enduring fortitude. An enduring fortitude to serve. Just an enduring fortitude to serve. And you're always looking around yourself and saying, how can I serve better? When you have that, the impetus to keep going just comes in. And then can I say this, that then God shines special light on you in whatever you do. But you must be genuine. You must be genuine. I don't know, we'll talk about a little bit about your work that has come back. You must be genuine. You must ask yourself, if a student has tried to write something to me, and I'm talking of an enduring fortitude, don't they deserve some reasonable feedback from me? So, yes, some people think it is magical, it is... No, in fact, I never realized that until I see. You know, today yesterday, I was on main campus throughout, and I went around to see the chapel and what. And then I went to the gate that is being constructed. And I was just mesmerized because I didn't expect a gate like that is coming up there. But I had this enduring fortitude and desire to have a good entry image into Daystar University, being a kingdom of God. So yeah, it is that. And then impetus, and then grace, the grace of God comes in. And then you realize, and this is what I've realized, when you reach that level, anything you deeply desire, God will give it to you. I'm telling you this for free. Anything you deeply, when you sacrifice and effort to give service, anything you deeply desire, God sends it your way. And my prayer is that this class will cause formation in that direction. Sylvester.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. In fact, you're just saying something that was in my heart, you know. I'm just reflecting on these, and the word that comes out more is humility, that the grace to be humble, because I'm seeing all these things, and since I started this class, I see it like in reality in my workplace. It's like I'm learning things, and God is teaching me a lot of things, perseverance, learning, taking what I'm supposed to take and move on. I can give a scenario in my life, like just lately, just the other day. Like I do music too, so, and I'm working with these guys. I did a concert, like a Christmas concert, and it was marvelous. And I was just a new person in that school. I'm still new. But the way the parents reacted, it was marvelous, very marvelous. They came out, they were like sending emails and saying, oh, we've never seen this and this. But now in this new semester, it's like the leadership didn't like it. Like they were like, this guy has just come the other day. How comes he's doing all this? So what what came out is they had to close my practice music rooms. And then I questioned them. I asked, okay, you closed my practice room, but you didn't give me the deadline. So when are we supposed to resume for that? And it was like I crossed their line. So they had to come up with a policy whereby I have to book my rooms. You know, those music rooms that you're free, you're using them with students. So now I have to book them, and I have to make sure that there's somebody else who is there to help me. And I came to realize, like, if a leader, we're supposed to accept maybe there's a mistake somewhere and say, okay, we didn't know that, then they're becoming defensive. I'm learning in this classroom that indeed they are more of like positional authority, like they're just leaders, but that moral, it can't be seen in them. And that's why I said it has helped me. This class has helped me to learn as a leader. Even I was talking to my wife just this few minutes ago, and I told her, like, to become a leader, you need to be humble enough to accept the challenges that are there and be true to yourself. Because we were walking and we are seeing this place, everywhere is built, the roads are good, everything is nice. And I'm like, what are our leaders doing that these guys are doing? I'm thinking and I'm like, no, we need to change our mindset. And I truly appreciate this course. It's really opening my eyes and my mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sylvester. Thank you. Charity?
Thank you so much, Prof. From my end, I'm driven by this aspect of what demonstrate sacrificial commitment. Now, many are the times I've seen people wanting to be self-actualized, more so when they are given the leadership position. And the aspect they look at being at the top, at the material world, just being there, compared to the aspect that you have brought in, telling us that maybe most times you not like people to call you Prof. Last week, we were just looking at your book with some librarians in our school, and we went down even looking in the PDF oceans, and they were like, "Oh, so Prof is the one taking you through this course and so on." But you find that brought another picture of you within our organization, like they know you as at a different level beyond leadership. And this built, it brought that element when you had come during the Teachers' Day, when most of us were triggered to join the course. Now, my take-home point is just becoming that element that Sylvester has talked about, the element of humility. Christ made himself nothing, regardless of the many miracles he performed, regardless of the lot of work that were done 2,000 years down the line. We can still point at him, remember many elements that he did, and so on. That really triggers my evening and it builds me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Charity. Thank you. Violet, then Gilbert, then Agnes.
Thank you so much, Prof. We have some light issues. I hope it won't go when I'm talking. I just want to share my sentiments just to contribute on what my colleagues have also said. And the key things I've taken from your devotion today. I think one of the things that have really resonated with is what is my contribution? Me as Violet Akibaya, what is my contribution to this class? What is my contribution to where I work? What is my contribution to my society? What is my contribution to my family? And just having you pronounce the words that you don't speak it. I will not go telling people I've done this, but what I've done, they're able to see. And I'm just looking at God guide me so that I should not be taught with such a role model and come out with nothing to show. And then another verse I love, which you quoted, Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 10. I know you quoted the first part Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all might. I like the second part because there's nothing in the grave where you're heading. So it tells us such a finality of where we are going. God has given us this time that we are living. What am I going to do with this time? And God is encouraging us that whatever, so be it this studying, be it in our leadership institution, whatever my hands find to do, I should do it with all might, because there's that time God will call me home and I'll have no energy to do that. Yeah. And then just Matthew 7:20. If you look at the context of that verse, Jesus was talking about false teachers, and he went ahead and talked about how you can identify them, how the good ones will bear fruit, and how the other ones will be taken away. Then he finalizes in verse 20 by saying, therefore, by their fruits you will know them. So I'm asking myself, what fruits will people know me for? And I know one of the punchlines you've told us is that leadership that has fruits endures forever. And I just hope that even as I go through this leadership course, I'll be able to be someone who can bear fruits, and those fruits can be able to create impact, not only to my family, not only to my institution, but to the entire society, so that there's positive change. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you, Violet. Gilbert, well done.
Hello, Prof.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask and maybe find out, is there a way we can use dictatorship and threats to, direct an organization? Because there are some fellas who cannot just, get things straight if you tell them in a good way. So is there a way we can use dictatorship or threats so that we can direct a team or an organization?
I like that. We'll be looking at types of, I'm not going to do types of leaders, but I'll contextualize what dictatorship can do. And then you'll make a choice. Do you have the energy? Do you have the energy? I have now almost 8,500 of you. Do I have the energy to dictate? Do I even have the energy to push you in one direction? No. I'm not saying authority, office authority is redundant. No, we use office authority for structure and hierarchy. But to get those paths together and moving in unison and supporting you as a leader, you must demonstrate moral authority every day. I know what you're trying to say, but is that an alternative? And if that becomes an alternative, why don't you resign? Yeah, if you reach a level where you have to dictate, where you have to, do all kinds of things, what for? What for? Then it becomes vanity. Agnes.
Thank you, Prof. Good evening to us all.
Good evening.
I'm really grateful for the word we had today. Something that I got from it was true fulfillment comes from working hard, embracing responsibility, and confronting difficulties with courage. Then I learned something in your book that really intrigued me on demanding the most always. Instead of demanding, there's somewhere you said, I had to be courageous enough in asking my staff and students to join me in this novel God-glorifying endeavor.
Yeah.
It was great. So to achieve great results, asking leads to shared ownership, motivation, and belief. So when the asking is, when you do the asking than the demanding, the staff and everybody you're leading tend to own and get motivated in whatever belief you have. But there's something also that really intrigued me in this book, that though demand is overly taken as forceful, existent, and a must compliance, it can be delivered in a respectful, courteous language that one eventually earns cooperation.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Agnes. I sense your conviction, just like Akibaya. I sense that conviction, and we are on the journey of formation. Even our young members in this class, like Charity and the others, I also feel very encouraged because we are forming. We are forming formation, and formation is an internal revolution as to what you want to become. Munachi?
Yes, good evening, Prof.
Good evening.
When you talked about you not liking being called Prof, you don't want that title Prof, you just want to strip the professor title and be referred by your name, your birth given name. It reminded me of a text we were asked to look at the past week. This text by Nguyen Henry called In the Name of Jesus, a reflection on Christian leadership. So in the first initial chapters of the book, Nguyen, who's a priest, he a teacher, a psychologist, he has a lot of introspection about his life. He even asks, has him getting old brought him closer to God? He felt like he wasn't praying sufficiently. Although around him, people thought he was doing great, but deep down he thought he wasn't doing great. So he sets forth and decides to go live with the mentally challenged. So at this particular point, when they're seated in the table with the mentally challenged, he offers one of them meat. And then the other one says, this one doesn't take meat. So he really felt a little bit depressed. He then knew that at that particular juncture, it doesn't matter whether he was a priest, whether he was a teacher, whether he was a psychologist, he was to be judged by what he was doing at that instant. And he decided that he has to live a life that he has to be judged in that instant. So actually he's trying to advocate the future leaders, Christian leaders, to drop the relevance and pick up the irrelevance, be an irrelevant member of society. Yes. So he's fighting about popularity. He says that we shouldn't fight for popularity and such kind of things as he moves on in the book. So when you're talking about you not liking being called a prof, I sort of related to that, and I wondered, is it a leadership thing? And now that you're learning leadership, I'm now wondering, to what extent when do you know you don't want these titles and they're not supposed to help you? Because you'll see that we are striving to get something in life. I really want to given the economy or the state of life you're living, because you realize that you need more knowledge. For you to make something in life, to live comfortably, you need some level of advancement in life and so on and so forth. So I don't know. I'm still.
I hear you. I hear you. We've just read scripture that Jesus chose to be nothing. Do you know what that means? Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison, comes out, becomes president, and after one term says, I don't want. He chose to become nothing. Because he saw that presidency did not amplify him in any way. In fact, these people whom you see now not to adore or want titles have metamorphosed into, they're almost getting into a spiritual form. Almost a spiritual form. I was coming from Kisumu the other day, and I asked a lady to remove her handbag so that I could sit. We were waiting for Jumbo Jet. And then she says, "Hi, Prof." I say, "Who are you?" And she says, "But who doesn't know you in Kenya?" You know, that's a very profound statement, because I've never run for parliament. If on this earth you serve people to a level where, like Mandela, your spirit roams not just Kenya, but roams the whole world. Everybody knew about Mandela, the whole world. Your spirit roams the whole world. And that spirit, when people encounter it, when there's a mention of you, everybody's heart feels glorified. For me, that is the ultimate. Of course, for me, it is in the education sector. So that I don't need to, when people reach a level where they don't have to call me Prof, then I'll have attained the ultimate status I'm looking for. And even when they say Ayiro, the whole manifestation of the character, personality, whatever, is coming through without the name Prof before it, is the ultimate. Later on, I discovered that the lady who was saying everybody knows she's actually the principal of Pangani Girls. I didn't know her. So I hear you. Miriam.
Good evening, Prof.
Good evening.
Thank you for this opportunity. Mine is more of a testimony that I want to give here. That
just a minute, Miriam. Our
yes.
coordinator, please encourage your audience to use their cameras where it's possible so that we begin to attach names to faces. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. All right. For today, you'll pardon me. I'm not going to.
No, it's okay.
It's my
okay.
camera. Yeah. All right. So I can attest that joining this course in September was a divine move that was godly led, because I had not served in any leadership position. But after I joined this course, like 3 months down the line, I got a promotion at my place of work. By God's grace, I serve in a Christian organization. And I can attest that because I had not served in any leadership position, the values, the lessons that I learned in this course have really guided me in my new leadership position. I remember when I was given my letter, I kept on reading your book, The Art of Institutional Leadership.
Yeah.
And I kept on reading the first topic, that the word, how you communicate the vision and mission. And I kept on telling God, as I go for my first introduction, give me which word I'm going to use so that my substitutes are going to accept me in that new environment and a new place. And all the time I could hear your voice, Prof. When I'm about to make a decision, I hear your voice in my mind. And this helps me to make a very sound decision until my supervisor was excited about how I'm executing my leadership. Actually, they think that I've been serving such a position for many years. Yes, I serve people who are mature than me, but the way they are even asking me for wisdom in case of a matter that they are not able to understand, I can only allude this one from the lessons that I've learned from you, Prof. And I'm really humbled, and I say that coming to Daystar was the best thing that happened to me. And this course is a very nice course that I'm marketing it to my colleagues, and wherever I go, I speak about it. I speak about you. And Prof, to be honest, you are really known. You are known. Wherever I mention your name, you are just known. And the people value what you do, and your contribution in education in this country. It's really accepted, and it really encourages me. I'm proud to be associated with this school. and also to be associated with you and you to be my lecturer. I'm really humbled. Something
Thank
that
you.
I picked today is what you have talked about. As a leader, the way you remain consistent with your word should resonate with your actions. And I've seen this one working for me so well so far. So I'm really humbled and I thank God. And I continue, I would also want to continue, because I'm a teacher, I want to continue teaching as a leader. I still pick less subject than I teach, like what you do to us. Thank you, and God bless you.
Wow, thank you. And we'll pray for you as you walk. Remember, this is a journey. It's not a destination. So it's a journey. Linda, Nyaoke, John, then Otieno.
Good evening.
To you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Mwalimu. Yeah. What I'm learning so far in this class is, in as much as we are trying to acquire more papers, more knowledge, to be in a certain position in society, keywords are attitudes and attributes that should be curated and embodied in us, that we need to have in us, such as humility, should be part of the journey. And this humility is something that can be quite challenging, especially in relation to leadership, because leadership comes with perks, comes with recognition, and it makes us sometimes forget ourselves and forget who we are. But I'm glad we are always encouraged to refer back to God and the Bible specifically, because it will anchor us to continue embodying some of these features that will make us exceptional leadership. In particular, exceptional leaders. In particular, I refer to Philippians chapter 2, verse 3, that states, let nothing be done through strife or vain glory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Basically, value other people despite your position. And in it, we are reminded that when you serve without seeking credit, you reflect Christ's heart and create a space where trust, growth, and unity flourish. So, Prof, it's quite a challenge to be humble if it's not in you. The higher you go, the more you become entitled. You feel you have earned it. You feel you have worked for it. So everyone should just stop. So what I'm learning is to be humble, that all this we are planning to get is by God's grace, and in everything we do, we should emulate Christ. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Linda. Thank you. Very sobering comments. But again, I feel formation. That's what is encouraging me. John, over to you, then Shaban, then Mutai.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good evening to you and good evening to the class.
Yes.
I think the verse that you shared, I think at the end, Proverbs 27:23, for me is, in fact, some versions render it as know your sheep by name. And if you consider that the responsibility that is put upon you as an individual by God, then I think you start to appreciate what is expected of you as an individual. And I've seen comments on the chats where people are talking about a principal who has done this, was planning to fire BON staff. But I cannot help but think, because literally everyone here, it's inevitable. Everyone has people that he or she is responsible for. And I as a teacher, I'm thinking, when my pupils do not submit their homework, for example, is it that I have not earned their respect? That by virtue of my interaction with them, they should feel that they want to do this, and so that is really sobering, and especially I teach young people. I mean, their pupils, and they come it's as honest as that. Have I earned their respect for them to feel like they need to do this? Have I inspired them to want to do better for themselves? And so, you know, someone has I think I like that you said it's a journey and not a destination. So it's a question of looking back at what I'm doing. Am I modeling for them to see that this is a way that we need to follow? And I was also thinking about, you know, in our different positions, what is it that we have been called to do? Are we doing what we have been called to do in the way that we are supposed to do? Have we been good stewards of what God has entrusted unto us? It is an enormous responsibility, and it is sobering and it is humbling, you know, just as, you know, thinking about it. And, you know, just finally, when you get to a point and you tell someone, I'm now speaking to you as your father, I am now speaking to you as the manager, I'm speaking in my position as a CEO. Could it be that you've just not gotten to that position when they look up to you and feel that they need to do whatever it is that you're asking them to do because of conviction rather than because they have to comply with your demands? Thank you very much for the insights.
Wow, John, that's very deep. You know what you're saying is so practical if you're going to be a good leader. I've gone to schools during my mentoring sessions, and the principal starts by lamenting that the students in my school don't like maths. I don't know what to do. And when you look at those results, if he had 100 students, there were about 5 who had A's in maths, and the rest had E's. That is a reflection on your leadership. It's a reflection on your leadership. You are not exerting enough seriousness, sacrifice, effort, commitment. You might not be a maths teacher, but in the running of that institution, then even the maths teachers will move from compliance to conviction. So when you are a leader and you're complaining, oh, I don't know why this is not happening, look at yourself and ask, could I be the problem? I think that's very profound what you have said. Rose Mutai, Shaban, Shaban, then Rose Mutai.
Yes, thank you, Prof, for the opportunity.
Are you in Florida?
No. I've just put a background. Thank you for the opportunity. I think what I've picked from your sermon today and what you've taught so far, and also I reflected to the daily living. More so I reflect when you would talk or give a speech in chapel, and then more so when maybe you've gone out of the country and then you've come back and maybe you ask, I left such and such to be done and it has not been done. Why so? Your straightforwardness. And then what I'm picking is that you're not as harsh, let's say in words, when someone is speaking words. There's a way you'd phrase your words and you would be harsh, at the same time humble and simple, that when someone has listened to you speaking, they ought to themselves that I'm not going to this wrong path, and always I'll keep to this path, because there is how you encourage and how surprisingly out of nowhere someone has done good and you reward them without thinking twice and know that you planned about it. And this is inspiring to me, because I'm getting the teaching that I don't have to be, like you've said, issuing letters or sermons and all that, but there's a way I can lead, and this is by asking. And from what I've read in your book, by asking. Even a good example, let me say, even the rugby team.
Yeah.
They know when they do good, how you'll be proud and how you'll also support them. You ask them to go out there and do it as they are doing it for themselves and for Daystar. And this is really inspiring, and that's what I've learned from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shaban. Yeah, you know, there are small things. You are leaders now. The other day, while I was in the States, one of my students, one of my Muslim students, wrote to me and said, Ramadan is coming, and we would like you personally to help us in meeting the food budget, ile ya kufungua in the evening and in the morning. And so I told them, go and do a budget. They came with a budget. There are 40 Muslim students at main campus. And we sat down and looked at it. I gave it to one of the canteens and said, do the total. And so the boy was rather surprised. And I said, but why are you surprised? I am doing this as a father. So I can see you're using the hall to feed the 40 of them a day. It's about 1,000 shillings each, which comes to about 40, the amount. So I said, let us divide it into half. You people, I know your parents have given you some money, contribute. Half, 50%, I'll do 50%. Now, you can create a lot of heat and energy around there. But what are we doing here? We are endearing to each other. And I told them, you know this person called Abraham? Is he in the Quran? Is he in the Bible?
Yes.
Do the Jewish know about him? Isn't that our common stem? So I'm just supporting what Shaban has said. It's how you communicate. And how much will that cost me to help those students through this Ramadan period? Will be maybe I'll use 200,000 shillings. Yeah, that's part of the per diem I was given when I was going out there. I can spend it on them. So that's what leadership is all about. Rose Mutai.
Good evening, and thank you so much, Prof, for the opportunity that you have given me. For me, you actually touch my heart in a very special way by incorporating the word of God, especially when we are learning, especially in your leadership and in your management. And I've been asking myself what kind of wisdom that you are actually sharing with us. And this reminded me about the book of Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10, that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. And I've learned that from you, Prof, that as a leader, you must put God first, and that has been demonstrated. You are actually touching life, you are changing our life, you are touching hearts and transforming and impacting generation. Thank you so much for your generosity in knowledge. We are learning so much. You are generous in your knowledge. You've been vulnerable, sharing your life with us, and I've learned a lot. I love the book about, in chapter 7 of your book, I've learned about always to be an honor. Own it up, demonstrate beyond any doubt your deep commitment for the vision of your institution, of your life, and even the followers. And that you have actually demonstrated in Christ-like centered leadership to serve God and also to serve humanity. I've also taken home about the excellence and transformation that you have really been emphasizing, that I'm actually also going to do it and also be transformed to give excellent services, so that whatever my hand touches to do, I do it to the best of my knowledge for the glory of God and also to change and to touch life. And I've actually seen what Reverend Martin Kivuva wrote in the introduction of your book, When you talked about loving the way you are engaging scripture in demonstrating and religion and spirituality, especially in leadership, that actually has been evidence in our class, and may God continue to bless you. I've also learned to be courageous to speak the word of God, even as a leader, no matter the position that you have reached in, even if you are at the top like yourself, you are not afraid, you are courageous to speak the word of God, and that is so important. Thank you, and God bless you.
Oh, thank you. I want to submit something, Rose Mutai. And I'm trying to get the words. This is very interesting. I was the principal of Lubino Boys in Western Province. And no, I was the principal of Kegoye Secondary School, those who have read my book. And I got transferred, promoted to go to Lubino Boys. And my chairman of the board, who was a commissioner in TSC at Kegoye, was very disappointed that I was opting to move from Kegoye to Lubino Boys. This is after I got a promotion to what they used to call senior headmaster. So he became very, very offended that I had made a decision without referring to him. So one time I get a letter from the secretary TSC, Kangali, asking me to go to his office for advice. So now I had already moved to Lubino. Whatever advice meant, I didn't know. So I went. And Kangali was pacing up and down. He was a chain smoker. He was smoking in his office, pacing up and down, telling me how ungrateful I am. And I'm going to send you back to Kegoye and so on. That day when I left that cooperative house before the bomb blast, my heart was disheartened because I had done my best. And I had passed the interview in TSC and I was being promoted to go to this other school. So my only mistake was that I was doing it against, the wish of my chairman. God rest his soul. And so I as I was going down, I bought a newspaper. And in the newspaper, there was a very small advert in the paper. And the advert was reading that there's a private school that requires a principal. So, and nothing much about it. So I thought about it. I applied. Out of frustration, I said, I'll apply for this. As the ancestors would have it, Lubino Boys then does the impossible from nowhere, and we are number 56 in the country. From nowhere, from position 1,250 to number 56 in the country. Let me cut this story short. I came for interview at Sunshine School, and I met the president of Kenya, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. A long story. My first time to walk into State House. And I don't know how to say this. I wish I could say it better. When I say that, people say you are a sycophant. You are a Kano orphan. You are everything. And I value loyalties. But every time, Mutai, you speak, the simplicity of your demeanor takes me back to the first day I met the president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, one-to-one in his office. And he was giving me the instruction that I want you to give me a good name. I'm not looking for money from Sunshine. I want you to give me a good name. But the demeanor, you are your way of communication, and he was going into the Bible, and the rest we can talk about it another day. And that's why, colleagues, even when we had these unfortunate events in Moi University, many of those people who were doing those things didn't know how deep my loyalty was to the founder of that university. They didn't know. They didn't know that I was more loyal to that institution than them, even now. Because Moi picked me from Lubino boys purely on merit to take over his school. And my trajectory in life changed. So when I was given a chance to run Moi, I really wanted Moi University to come back to its glory. So this has been on my heart. Every time you speak, I go back to that day in that office of about, was it about 50 meters in length, and you're walking towards him and he's observing you. So maybe one day, God will allow a situation where we shall all be vindicated and make Moi University a great university. Yeah. Charles, sorry to reference you, Rose Mutai, but that's me. That's how my heart operates. Charles Muindi.
Yeah, thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. And I actually appreciate for the devotion that you shared today and for the insights that you are giving us about leadership. And allow me give this as a testimony of what has happened to me as we undergo this class. And to me, as you're asking us, who are you to us? For me, I must say that you have been my mentor as we go on with this particular class. And as you are telling us that you need us to be formed, to be leaders in the different areas we find ourselves. Yeah, I work as an accountant in a church program, which supports people who are needing the community. And actually, this has happened to me in the last 2 weeks. We had actually 63 students who were transitioning from grade 9 to grade 10 in the program. And, one parent just calls me. I remember very well this day I was on off. And this parent just calls me and tells me, Charles, I've prepared my daughter, but I don't have 3,000 shillings. That in fact, if I get these 3,000 shillings, I'll take my daughter to school. And then I tell her, I've already issued you with the check. I have got nothing else that I can be able to do. And she tells me, I have called your personal number because I know you are capable to help me. And I remembered, Prof, last semester you were telling us of a student who came to you and was to join KMTC. And I asked myself, why is it that this parent has just called me and not just going back to the office by the fact that I'm not even in office that particular day? And I actually had to get into my pocket and support this particular parent. And after 2 days, she calls me and she's very happy telling me that I was actually able to tackle the problem that I had and the child is in school today. And that gave me joy in my heart.
Yes.
The second case came. Well, I'm working under policies which are very clearly stipulated that this is what you are supposed to do to this particular parent. And this parent just comes to pick the check. And I issue that particular check for the school fees. Of course, we are not paying the actual, the total amount. There is that particular amount which they are supposed to top up. And the parent tells me, I have everything. I've prepared the girl. She is admitted at Kijabe Girls, and I'm taking her to school. But unfortunately, could you be having a pair of shoes? Because I'm taking the child to school with the clothes, because I don't have any money to buy this particular child a pair of shoes. And as a Daystar student, I know even these shoes are not allowed at Daystar. And I ask myself, if it were my child, how could it be? And this is when I realized that as a leader, you have to offer solutions. Because again, God has placed us in different positions where we are just to be used as a bridge to the destinies of some people. And I just call a certain shop where we normally get these shoes sometimes when you have maybe a budget for the same. And of course, I had no budget to do this. And when I call this shop, the child is supposed to get a taffy, size 5. And they tell me this pair of shoes is retailing at 2,850. But because we have been doing these, we will sell it to you at 2,000 because you are telling us this is a very deserving case.
Yes.
And I just tell this parent, do this, pass through this particular shop, get the pair of shoe, and tell them I'm the one who have sent you, and take the child to school. And this parent just calls me in the same evening and tells me, may God bless you. I don't know what I can say. And I just tell her, I didn't have the money. I've not even paid for the pair of shoe, but I know God will provide. And I'm happy that the child is school. The last case which actually hit my heart was still on the same. One of the parents, the program knows that this parent has just relocated to their own premises. They have purchased a small piece of land. And of course, we are here to help these people. But some of my colleagues just view this as a person who is not having any problem because they know that they have relocated to their own piece of land and they have that Mabati house where they are living.
Yeah.
And this Muse tells me that my child was called to Kitondo School, a C2 school, but I've got no option. I've decided to take this child to a day school. But I told this parent, why can't we trust and this child is going to join this particular school? And the parent tells me, I have tried my best. Of course, you have encouraged me. I have tried to buy what I could be able to buy, but I don't have 23,000 needed for the school uniform and some necessities in school. And this is on a Tuesday. And I told this Muse, I'll be having a meeting with my management this Thursday. Just prepare the child will go back, will go to school on Friday. And he tells me, in fact, I've been thinking of running away from the family because the child is giving me stress every day when I come at home and see him. But I told this Muse, don't do that. I'll try my best and I will intervene where I can. Sometimes I even ask myself, the program, I have money. And of course, with the trust that I have with my management, they told me, we have sent these checks for you, black checks, because these children, as they go to school, you don't know the schools which they are getting to. And so when they bring you that fee strata, you can write the check to them without coming back to us. And I ask myself, why can't I just write the check for them and then I explain the case to them later? As you know, today people are saying, let me do this, case badai. But again, I remembered when we were having the class of the type of leadership, the aspect of what lessons are we getting from the aspect of Moses as a leader. And I remembered one of the nugget of wisdom we got is that Moses actually obeyed the authority. And I say that I can't do this because of what we are getting from class. It's good that I report the same. And as I am saying, we have just been placed in different positions just as a bridge, not you to do some of the things and the like. So when I came to the meeting, I just present the case about this particular child. And I say to the management that this child, the parent has prepared this, but they don't have 23,000 for the child uniform and other necessities. And what really struck my heart is that even my immediate supervisor says this family is not having such problems. They have just relocated to their own place a year ago. And this Mused explained to me what is going through, what situation they are in. And I presented my case to the management. And again, I remembered what you told us that leadership, character is very key. And as I presented my case, one of the board member just stood and said, we have worked with Charles for around 8 years now, and we know very well the character of Charles. There is no way he can bring a case to us without having done due diligence. And so there is no way he can bring stories to us here. And I believe we should stand and assist this particular case because of what he's bringing to us. The question that I was asked, because others try to bring the issue as, what is the contribution of this particular parent? And without even consulting the parent, I just told that he told me that he can get 5,000. And then they told me, give them the 18,000 and let the child go to school tomorrow. And of course, after having received that approval, That evening, I speak to the man, and he tells me I can't get even the 5,000. What could I do? I had to get to my pocket and assist this particular child to go to school. And mark my words, it's not because I had that particular money. In fact, I just had 14,000 with me as school fees for my PP2 daughter and my grade 5 son. And that is the money that I had to use to intervene in these particular 3 cases. And when the Mzee calls me at that particular night and tells me, the child has been admitted to school, we are so grateful, may God bless you, and may you actually receive that gratitude from me, I believe today I will be able to sleep. You know, receiving such statements from that particular Mzee encouraged me. And of course, I got the favor when I talked to the school about my children. I was given a month and I was told, no problem, you can clear your sons and daughters' fees later. And so this really motivates me and knows that in the different positions that God has positioned us as leaders, yes, character, and again, we need to offer solutions, not just complaining about these particular people when they come to us. Some things, as I have said, not for you to do, some things just to offer a solution by creating a bridge for this particular person to reach to their destiny. So I'm so grateful. This course is actually molding me as I continue to serve in the place that God has positioned me to serve. Thank you.
God bless you for what you're doing. We have 3 minutes each. I want us to take a short break. And then thank you very much, Charles. Then we do one more preparation towards leadership. Jacqueline, Evelyn, and Monica, and we stop there. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you, Prof. I came in at the tail end of your presentation this evening, but I am so intrigued by every presentation that you give us in terms of devotion. For me, when I listen to you, every verse you present seems to be a reflection of your life. It feels to me like you are very conscious that you are a letter written to the world to read. I feel like you are so clear that whether you are talking or you're silent, whether you are in the US or you're in Kenya, the world is reading. The world is reading every chapter of your life. And I haven't met an elderly person your type, and I am really challenged, thoroughly challenged. You know, you sound so conscious that you may not, you are so clear that life doesn't have a reverse gear where you can go back and correct a mistake. So you know you are passing here once. It's so clear to me in this class. You are so conscious that you're passing on this road once. You will never have a chance to make another first impression. So the impression you've planted in my mind is that I need to be very conscious that in this life, I will only pass once. And I have to be totally careful how I am passing, because there is no chance to, to make a correction. I'm totally challenged. I honestly want to testify that I feel like Paul landing under Gamaliel. I've read about Gamaliel, Paul's teacher.
Yeah.
And Paul was a great man. And I'm asking myself, if Paul was a great man, who is Gamaliel? I'm almost thinking, this Gamaliel is our Professor Ayiro. You have taught me, you have affected and infected my life, I must confess. And I can hear most of my classmates really confessing that I'm challenged by the way you want to go to the grave empty. You know, at your age, you're seated here teaching us. I was so surprised when I saw you have landed and you're in class. You're teaching us before you go for, I don't know, another meeting. I'm like, what kind of a man is this? You are so determined to go to the grave empty.
Yeah.
And this is something that the world is hungry for. Most of us now want to just sit. I mean, if I was at your level of education, probably I would just be sipping a cup of tea from my house, seated, saying, read for yourselves. I've given you books. What else do you want me to do? But you are here still taking us through your books as though we don't know how to read. I mean, the lesson I have learned from you, the lessons you're distributing to us, can only be attached to one secret. And that secret, I have seen is your connection with God. If you are not connected with God, there's no way you're ever going to sit here and do all these things you are doing. It is not the money you are looking for. It is not fame because you already have it. It's nothing. It is living the sermon, living the word that you have already done. So I am blessed. I just want to encourage my classmates that indeed this world has nothing to offer. When you have a connection with God, greater things will you be able to do. I believe these great things you are doing, Prof, are because of the connection you have. And so may we, by the end of this course, be so affected, so infected by our connection with God that we will follow after your footsteps. May the Lord bless you indeed.
Thank you. You're making me cry. Yeah. Evelyn Nadio. Thank you for those kind words.
Thank you, Prof. I'm Evelyn Nadio from Turkana County.
Oh.
Yeah, I come with Elkanah from the same county.
Okay.
I'm so delighted to be part of this class and to be your student. Sometimes I say, I wish I'd known you earlier. I wish you were there to start with me when I was starting life. Maybe I could be a better person by now. I just want to give my life history kidogo, and especially related to my work back at home. I started working for an organization called Oxfam Great Britain, and we were really serving the most vulnerable people in our community.
Yeah.
And these are people who have nothing to give you, but always depending and looking upon you to give them something, either in kind or cash. So the values they instilled in us when we were newly recruited assisted me in my life and in my career. You could go to the field, you don't need a seat. All you need is to get maybe a lesson and you sit down. You don't ask for a seat for somebody to give you a seat. And every time you're dealing with them, you're treating them in a special way because they're special. In as much as they're vulnerable, but you need to treat them with respect and dignity. And so we served them like that, putting their priorities first, listening to them, not looking down at them. And it gave me that pride that I'm able to at least give something back to my community. And later I joined government. And when I joined government, I was like in a shock because, coming from a culture where you don't call somebody sir, madam. Everybody is equal, be it is your boss or who. When you go to the field, your allowance is the same. If it is 2,000, it is 2,000 for everybody. There are no cadres like there is the manager getting higher and all that. Because when you go to the field, you will sleep maybe in the same place, the same rates. You eat the same food. So I got sort of culture shock or whatever now in government. So there's a program also that was assisting the most vulnerable still in government. And I think because of the good work we did with Oxfam GB, we transited, but through a partner to a certain authority. I'm not going to name it. And when I was there, we were given money to go to the field, but there were no vehicles. This organization had no vehicles. So there's a time I was asked, have you gone to the field? I said, I have not. Why? We don't have enough vehicles to go to the field. The vehicle that is there is for a certain program. So we have not. So the money that we sent for your AIE, you have not touched. They say even a shilling we have not. Because there are no vehicles to facilitate us to go to the field.
Yeah.
And the person who was in charge of that finances said, are you sure? I said, yeah, 100%. We have not gone anywhere. We have not touched even a shilling. This person came to audit our books and apparently they got their own things, which is, I'm not even going to explain further. This is Kenya, you understand. So later we were bought a vehicle and we were able to go for field visits.
Yeah.
And we were able to train people. You are given an impress. By those days, you are given impress. You go to the field, you train, and then after training, you come back with the schedules. And for us, because of the values Oxfam Great Britain had instilled in us, we could pay people and bring everything back. This is the amount that we were able to utilize, and this is what is pending. Some people are laughing at us. And they were saying, hey, these fools, where are they from? How can somebody go to the field and bring back their money?
Yeah.
But we said that for us, we were handling a lot of money with Oxfam Great Britain, and you could be given like 2 million, 3 million to go and pay, and you pay and you don't lose a shilling, and nobody is going to come to complaining that I was not paid. So at a certain point again, we were supposed to recruit a team that was going to collect some data for the government, so that whenever there are issues or crisis, the government is able to respond in a quicker way, having a database, one database. So we were supposed to recruit, and people were applying. We sent an advert, and people are applying for these positions. MCAs came to my office and they told me, we have some young men here and we want you to take them for the positions you have advertised. I remember telling them now, this is Turkana. You are able to bring this gentleman or this lady to come and lobby. Outside there are people who cannot even manage to reach this office to come and lobby for themselves. If we encourage, if we encourage whatever you're doing by taking those people whom you have brought to be employed, what will happen to those people who cannot manage to come here and lobby for themselves? Remember that there are people who are more vulnerable. Even affording a meal a day is a problem. Why can't we allow these people to come and compete? They are our people. Those who have not come to lobby, and these ones that we have brought, are they not from this community? Yes, they are. Then why can't we allow them to compete in a fair way?
Yes.
So that all of them can get an equal chance, and then whoever performs better to be given a position. After all, at the end of it, they come from this community. The gentleman, the MCA, a female MCA and a male MCA who came to my office, they said, oh, Madam, you are able, we really thank you for talking to us. You have opened our eyes. For sure, there are those people who are more vulnerable, but because they don't have somebody to come and lobby for them, might not get a chance to work here. We really thank you. We came with a different opinion, but now we are going back satisfied because the explanation you have given us has really touched us. So let the best candidate win. We raised our case there and we are going back.
Wow.
So these people were able to go back and the interviews were conducted, and those who were successful were were called and they were able to start work. So in that process, there's a young man who came and told me he was a border rider. He had finished school, but he had not gotten an opportunity to work anywhere. So he said, Madam, I was a border rider, supporting my mother and my family with the small money I used to get from that small business. But you don't know me. I've never seen you before. I just saw you that day when I came for an interview. And you were able to give me a chance to work here. Thank you so much. So I sat down and I said, in our current world, there's a lot of lobbying. And especially, whom do you know for you to get a chance to work? And if we encourage this as leaders to allow those who come to lobby to get these positions, what will happen to the rest?
Yeah.
It is really sad. Sometimes I look back and I say, the values that Oxfam Great Britain instilled in me when I started working has really helped me throughout my journey by making right and just decisions sometimes. Because, and even giving me that right and that motivation to say the truth and speak out my mind. In as much as it might not be a popular decision or whatever, but I'm able to speak out and be counted that I was able to stand firmly by encouraging what is right to be done. So thank you so much. Now I was reflecting. Suppose I'd met Professor earlier, because in my life I'm not upright. In one way or another, I've not been a good person. And I met you, mapema, for you to talk to me, to make me understand, to make me reflect. I think I could be a very better person than maybe wherever I've been. And I really thank you for encouraging us, for instilling the right values in us as leaders, and making and transforming us, encouraging us to be better people, to be better leaders. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you. Evelyn, you are a very good person. You're already very good. Just what you have said. I worry about the vulnerable people, but you know, vulnerability now in this country has spread everywhere. Children in Korogosho or Kibera or Langas, they are just as vulnerable. So it's so encouraging to know that just through that strong conviction, you are able to allow or increase the chances of somebody getting out of their cycle. So we thank God for that. Monica, 2 minutes. Otieno, 2 minutes, because I need to get moving with my class also. But by the way, all these inputs are very rich. And it's part of leadership. We get to learn even more. And as you know, our intention here is formation. Monica and Muki.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. For me, I just want to echo what you are saying. You actually said when you sacrifice yourself genuinely to give service, anything that you desire, then it normally comes. I can say I've been very privileged and I'm very happy for the things that have happened in my life. And I can say I'm a teacher by profession, yes, but I've always looked at when I teach those, I'm an early years teacher, and I'm always looking at what am I really looking for those children who are coming, who are going to pass through my hands? What do I want them to be, in the future? So I look into teaching as a passion. I'm looking at, I want them to have those values. I want them to hold on to things that they're going to help them. It's not just academic. Of course, we are told they need to know how to read and write, yes. But I'm looking at what is that they're going to carry, to the next class as they go to primary, as they go to high school, as they go towards university, So I'm looking at helping those children understand the very simple things that are going to help them: respect, having loyalty, always telling the truth, even if it's going to put you on timeout, So there are very small things that really matter. They might look very small because, as we grow older, of course, there's that part whereby we end up not telling the truth in some way so that we protect ourselves. But I'm looking at, can these children know when to say the truth, and also let them learn how to achieve things by themselves. So we push them to learn, and they grow, they become independent. And I'm very happy that you're teaching us how to rely on God. It's a very, it's a different aspect which I'm always looking at. Sometimes I lack faith because maybe some things have happened that make us not trust God. But coming to Daystar, and every day we start with worship, it makes me think, despite what we have, we get everything from God or Allah. So we have to depend on Him and trust Him in good and bad. So you're this sort of inspiration whereby you're teaching us to trust God. You're teaching us to even humble ourselves, to have humility, you know. So it's very good for us as leaders, and it makes us also understand other people, the ones who we are leading, especially in schools, the children. So when they see us humble, then it's like a role model. Some will pick, and of course, some will not pick, but you're really teaching us a lot, and I'm very grateful for these lessons that you always have. You sacrificed so much. I don't know how much I can thank you, but words cannot be enough, actually, to just say how much you have really helped us.
Thank you.
So I just want to say thank you so much for being that source of inspiration.
Thank you. The glory is His. And Monica, I'm glad that you are nurturing fertile minds, young people. That's why I'm at the university, but I still go to schools. When I go to Bishop Gatimu, I get there at 6 in the morning or 7. I don't want to leave until it is past 7 in the night. My heart is with young people. And I've seen thousands of young people who we have mentored who never have become, but today they look back and are thankful to God. I told you my story when I didn't make it for medicine. I was so frustrated because I wanted to be a medical doctor. But my mother called me and said, "My son, I know you wanted to be a medical doctor, but God wanted you to be a teacher, and you'll be a great teacher." And when I see the influence I've had, maybe I've had more influence on humanity than if I was a medical doctor. Moses Otieno, close for us this session, please.
Yes, I've enjoyed listening to all my colleagues, and I'm enriched by what they have said. I'm sorry, I'm up country today. I had to travel urgently for some family-related issues.
Okay,
and
okay.
I'm struggling with my internet, so I fear that if I put on the camera, I may go off. So if you'll allow me, I'll just speak from without having
It's okay.
a camera on. Yes, Prof, I was reflecting on servant leadership that we are all trying to form ourselves into. And I was wondering, I've had so many comments from my colleagues, and I'm seeing the comments are pro people, making people feel comfortable at work, making people embrace the visions and the convictions of the leader. But there's a fundamental question I'm asking myself. What are we servants of? Are we servants of the people or servants of the mission and vision of the institutions that we are serving? When I was reading your book, The Art of Institutional Leadership, I'm not able to quote the very exact parts, but there is this point where you are thinking about how this that has always been Christ-centered could be more Christ-centered. And it took you and your team a lot of time to redefine and to find a way to make Daystar more Christ-centered than it had been. And if I look at your conviction, and I look at the reflection on my thought now that I'm wondering, I feel that you are more a servant of the mission and vision of the institution, and it is this that propels you to go to the depths that you are undergoing in your attempt to influence others. So I would just wish to have more input at what are we servants of? Is it just a servant of making people good or feel good at work, or we are people who are committed to chase the vision and the missions of institutions that we are serving as leaders? Thank you.
Wow, wonderful question. I would like us to take a short break, and when I come, I'll pick that up. But that is very good thinking, very deep thinking. And I always ask myself, there's a book you should read, Leading Like Christ. And remember, it is service to mankind. And therefore, those who want to lead must be servants first. I think it relates to the people, but within a mission context. But let's pick that when I come. Now, just to remind you, I might forget when we are closing, that our research methods class, we are dealing with case studies, chapter 3, but we have chapter 1, 2, and 3, and we have started bringing back chapter 1. And my prayer is that by tomorrow evening, all of you will have your proposals. Start working on my corrections. And mine are not corrections. I'm actually giving you a framework that I want you to populate. I'll talk about this on Thursday. But then I want you to start working on chapter 2 so that you submit it. And then those 2 chapters would be assessed because I have them. And that will be your evaluation for the course. So just remember that. You'll have those 2 chapters, then we shall have a multiple choice exam on chapter 3, where we are doing this seminar. So there'll be a multiple choice exam on chapter 3. But chapter 1 and 2, as I'm going through, I am giving you a mark, and I'm going to post the marks. Because of data protection, we can't post them anywhere. Anyhow, we'll send them back to you. So let's bear that in mind. That's our evaluation. This one we have already discussed, the leadership, how we are going to do it. Please continue sending in your summaries of your class text, reading the synopsis, so that you begin to accumulate your marks. We come back at 8 sharp, and I promise I'll take 15 minutes. I want to share a lecture I presented at CCCU on leadership, and then we shall read 1 chapter in our course book, and then give you chapters for continuous reading. Dr. Caroline Mwaka.
Thank you so much, Prof. I think you can take a break as they are here, and then we can pick up. So guys, I hope some of you already check out on your email if you received my communication. I think I sent like 6, but I saw names that were repeated. So there were 2 bunches that Prof sent, 55 and 16, but I noticed in the 16, there were those that were already in the initial bunch. So it's possible that I have repeated you twice, and I've already sent the ones. If I haven't sent you, don't ask me, oh, I've not received. It just means I have not sent you. So, and then don't reply to it, because you can imagine replying all of you to you can use an emoji if you want, just to show I've received. I've received, you can use an emoji. That's all. Folks have raised their hands. Someone raised, I don't know, wanted to ask a question. I see only one hand raised. Yeah,
I want
Jackie.
to ask, yes, Dr. Good evening.
Good evening.
I wanted to ask, he said once we receive our chapter 1, we begin doing corrections, and then, and then we start chapter 2. Are we sending chapter 2 separately, or we attach to the corrected chapter 1?
So what I want to teach you is this. The best way to write is, I don't like that one. The best way to write is, we try and have it, we send, I think that's what I'm thinking. We send all the way, a good proposal is when you're seeing it's flowing. So if I were you, let me just give an example so that you can see. Let me give an example, and I'll send you a template just to see. Let me see. I hope I can. I'm just Googling anyone that I can, any name, Caroline Ndunge. Can I see Ndunge? I can't see it right now. Who else can I see? I have to go to Word document. Maybe I had removed my downloads all over, so I don't have downloads. Did I? Ouch. So actually, I can go to the email and just pick any of the students who send me their final documents. That way, I can be able to get it. Maybe from cohort 1 as opposed to cohort cohort 2, because cohort 2 are still shaping up theirs, so theirs are not really very perfect. And I encouraged that even if you're submitting chapter 2, please have your chapter 3, because you already have your start writing. That is important for you, so that we can have our defenses early, not late. And because, sometimes you wake up in the morning, leadership changes, and someone else has to pick in and coordinate the program, maybe Dr. Ayiro. So it's always good to just we do our work, we finish, so that but I can promise you I'm holding you on until you graduate. Anybody else, if they come in, they can come in probably in another cohort. So worry not. Oh my goodness, my laptop is slow because it's having a lot of stuff right now. Anyway, I deleted most of, because I had so many. So I delete obviously many documents so that I can get from my downloads, so that I don't have to keep so many documents. On my desktop. Our time is already here. Okay, I can just use okay. Wow. I'm sorry, but then it's not the best. But I'll give you once I've done the best, but just give you what I have on my desktop coming up. It's not that this is the best. I was trying to Google up anybody I can get, so that I can show you how a flow of, I even haven't opened to know that they have done the right thing. So let me open it from the email. So it's easy for me to. I can. All right, so as it comes up, so this is what I was saying. Let me say it's shares from the email. So you can see there is the page, your topic. By the way, you don't bold stuff in APA. So what I'm saying is you now need to start organizing your work to look like it's picking up a proposal format to give you the impression of what you're doing and psychological preparation for a proposal. You can now see this is a name, Master of Education Leadership and Policy, September 2025 declaration. It is signed. These pages I'll always give you. So they are signed, I'll always give you as your front matter for you, so that you can feel the feel of writing. These are standards. All appendices are standard document matters, so that you can start feeling it is signed by the supervisors, by whoever. So obviously your first supervisor is going to be Professor Laban Ayiro. The second supervisor shall allocate you. So we'll give you from a different supervisor who is going to be your second supervisor, who will be coming up to sign for you at this document. Later on, you can acknowledge God, acknowledge your supervisors, I wasn't even the supervisor for this one. It was for God. I don't know, Dr. God, I don't know why you want Dr. Caroline Mark, but I sit with Dr. God, because some people just use the template as it was. They don't even try to remove and edit anything. So we go on. And now you can see the first 8 staff are always the preliminary matters. Then now this is what you've been doing, all of you. Chapter 1, introduction and background to the problem, introduction, research problem statement, rationale, etc. There's one thing that has been missed on this document here. But I think in the final one she did, there is no conceptual and theoretical framework on this here. So when I give you, I'll ensure that one has as a so that these are usually the parts for chapter 1, which Prof has taken you through. And then now these are usually for chapter 2, which you have gone through. And now last week and the other week, this Thursday and the other Thursdays, I think two lectures, you've been able to go through this chapter 3. Prof has already given you how to go through. Of course, ignore chapter 4. This is not your now aid until you do that analysis. So basically that. Then as usual, we expect you must have, even if right now you don't have any list of tables, just put that page because you will need it. You will need it. You will need a list of figures at some point. You will need abbreviations automatically. So just put there even if you don't have them at the moment. An abstract will teach you, will give you, you can also use some of the samples we're sending you. And now this is what you've been sending to Prof, most of you, introduction, blah, blah, blah. And then you move on. So at the end of the day, usually your work has to have also a reference list, which you'll be sending to us at the moment. So now most of you have done chapter 1. It's just refining it, as Prof has said. You refine it, and then now you can be able to now move to chapter 2 as you write. Once you're done, you can submit and then start working on your chapter 3, because then we just give you a go ahead to start chapter 3 as your chapter 2 is being reviewed. As your chapter 2 is being reviewed, we'll be starting to ask you to start writing your chapter 3. Eventually, you'll need certain matters as you do your work. This one's, so you notice that after the reference, we have what we call appendices. After this is what we call the reference list. After you have written your proposal, we always have to see your reference list. And I think we shall give you some lecture. I know, last semester we did, right? The librarian, you were with Congo, Samuel. You had a lot of time with Samuel. So we reference.
Okay, Carol.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You can wrap up the class here. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. Somebody asked about servant leadership. I think I would like us all to know that servant leadership, and the big question he asked, and it was a very interesting question, he asked us, who do we serve? I'll be coming to that later. But I would like I'd like you people to know that servant leadership, call it a philosophy where the primary orientation of the leader is to serve first and lead second. Just remember that you serve first, then you lead. And when you go into leadership, it was articulated formally by somebody called Greenleaf a long time ago, 1970. And the test for leadership is whether those served grow as persons. In other words, is their formation becoming healthier, wiser, freer? Those are the things you look for in somebody who has exercised servant leadership. the archetypal expression of servant leadership, of course, is Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. But just remember this: service before status, empowering others, listening, being empathic, using moral authority, not office authority. But whom do we serve? So for me, I'll be serving the mission of Daystar. So I'm the custodian of the purpose of why Daystar exists. We'll also serve the students, the faculty, the stakeholders. And so we protect the culture of the organization. I'm just being very brief. We also serve society if you're at a bigger level, like His Excellency, the President of the Republic. You serve the public good, equity, and so on. But for the faith-based leader, we serve God. So service becomes an act of obedience and stewardship under divine accountability. So that leadership therefore becomes a vocation and not a career. But we can get into that later on. But for now, just know that. And the people we serve must grow. And me, I know that servant leadership is purpose-driven, people developing, character-centered, and we serve the mission, the people entrusted to us, the institution, the society, but ultimately God, for the faith-grounded leader like all of us here. Now, just remember that if leadership increases your visibility, but not others' capacity, then it is not servant leadership. Just remember that. One's leadership should not increase your visibility, but people's capacity. So when I see the first cohort graduate, the second cohort, the third cohort, when I see my leadership strengthen the institution, it just tells me that this is servant leadership, because true servant leadership multiplies the capacity and also strengthens the institution. Allow me to close today's class with some thoughts I presented in Dallas on leadership as the African representative. And I'm just reading the way it was, but you pick out what comes through. And that's what I'll use to close the lesson today. The topic was existential leadership in the 21st century, meaning, responsibility, and moral courage in the age of uncertainty. So I have chosen to do this because of time, but the next class will be tying up all the constructs of leadership and the authorities in leadership. So Caro and Magdalene and Meshach and Nazarene, please make sure that they have the Drucker article sent to them for reading, but not highlighted, a fresh one for them to work on. Distinguished colleagues, leaders, scholars, and friends, We are living in an age where technical competence is abundant, but existential clarity is rare. We have artificial intelligence that writes, predicts, and stimulates. We have data analytics that model the future. We have algorithms that guide decisions. And yet, anxiety globally is rising. Institutions are fragile, and trust is eroding. The crisis before us is not merely economic, political, or technological. It is existential. It is about our survival as the human race. So tonight I want to explore a different question of leadership. Not how to manage systems, but how to lead when certainty collapses. How to act responsibly when no outcome is guaranteed. How to construct meaning in a world of disruption. This is existential leadership. So we will be talking about existential leadership, but I want you to note that how it's not about managing systems, but how do we lead when certainty collapses? How do we act responsibly when no outcome is guaranteed? And how to construct meaning in a world of disruption. This is existential leadership. The existential foundation of leadership is grounded in a philosophical tradition that confronts anxiety, freedom, and responsibility directly. It draws from thinkers like Kierkegaard, Heidegger, John Paul Sartre, and Viktor Frankl. And all these we shall meet them in our next class. This message is simple but unsettling. Human beings are free. Freedom produces anxiety, and responsibility cannot be outsourced. Leadership, therefore, is not primarily technical. It is moral. It is existential. And somebody who's in my class will know that the leadership paradigm that I align myself is the moral and existential paradigm of leadership. Anxiety, the sign of serious leadership. And I want you to discuss this among yourselves. Kierkegaard described anxiety as the dizziness of freedom. I'm so anxious. There's so much anxiety. In the 21st century, leaders face climate anxiety, AI displacement anxiety, political fragmentation, Kenya is a typical example, and institutional decline. We are all crying about our education system, our health system, etc. But existential leadership reframes anxiety. So all these aspects of anxiety are contextualized in the existential leadership. Anxiety is not incompetence. It is awareness of consequences, of the consequence. When leaders faced global pandemic decisions, closing schools, restricting movement, prioritizing scarce resources, the anxiety they felt was not a weakness. That's why many times I tell you, one of the most tested presidents of our republic was Uhuru Kenyatta during the COVID pandemic. And the minister. So there was anxiety, but that was not a weakness. So anxiety is not incompetence. It is awareness of consequence. What will happen? It was the weight of moral choice. Existential leadership does not suppress anxiety, it absorbs it. And I think Uhuru Kenyatta did it very well. Sometimes we talk about, oh, he didn't give Raila's presidency. Those are known considerations. The fact that we had the lowest mortality rates around COVID speaks or spoke about the weight of the moral choice of the president then. He was able to suppress, he was able to absorb that anxiety, and the country remained hopeful and steady. How about authenticity in an age of conformity? Heidegger warned about the tendency to conform to public opinion. People are saying, today conformity has a new engine, algorithms. So we have trending topics, we have social media outrage, we have digital echo chambers. It's all conformity. Do you have, somebody will ask, Ayiro, are you in the social media platform? Are you on TikTok? Are you on this? Are you on that? The temptation for leaders is to react rather than reflect. And you see what social media, have you read these clips on videos? They bring out all this information. Oh, Sijui, what, this has happened. Oh, Matiang'i has resigned. Oh, Gachagua has met Uhuru in secret. Ruto is meeting so and so. Gladys Wanga is going to be the deputy president. That's what we are all pushed onto, to conform to these various algorithms of social media. Existential leadership demands authenticity, choosing long-term sustainability over short-term applause, upholding truth when misinformation spreads faster. I'm talking about misinformation. Protecting institutional mission against populist pressure. How do we do that? Zelensky, in the early days of invasion, he could have evacuated. We're talking about the Ukraine. Instead, he stayed, not because it was safe, but because it was symbolically necessary. This is existential leadership. Radical responsibility in the age of AI. Open AI and similar institutions are shaping the architecture of how the human brain works, human cognition. But technology does not remove responsibility. It doesn't. Satire reminds us we are condemned to be free. If an AI system discriminates in hiring, if an algorithm deepens bias in social media, If automation displaces livelihoods, no jobs, no leader may say the system did it. You can't tell us it's the system. Existential leadership requires moral ownership. Efficiency is not innocence. Meaning of the sustaining force in leadership. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, Auschwitz, the Jews who were thrown in chambers to burn to death, concluded human beings can endure almost any suffering if they perceive meaning. The 21st century suffers not from lack of information, but lack of meaning. Institutions collapse not only because of budget deficits, but because of purpose deficits. They don't have a purpose. Healthcare workers endure exhaustion because they believe their work matters, particularly during the COVID, for example. Educators persist because they see transformation in students. They keep going on, like Monica was telling us. I think meaning fuels endurance. And I want you to note that human beings can endure almost any suffering if they perceive meaning. So existential leadership is the art of constructing shared meaning under uncertain conditions. Under this leadership in this dynamic space in time, climate justice and moral accountability are part of the dilemmas a leader faces. So we face ecological fragility unprecedented in human history. We have a problem with our climate. Voices like Greta Thunberg challenge institutions not with data alone, but with moral urgency. Moral urgency. So climate leadership is not merely about emissions targets and carbon credit. It is about intergenerational responsibility. So the existential leader asks, what suffering are we willing to prevent? What future are we willing to protect? Developmental readiness and leadership maturity. Research suggests that maturity increases the capacity for reflection, abstraction, and emotional regulation. Similarly, essential maturity in leadership requires self-awareness, ethical reflection, courage, under scrutiny. We'll meet this when we are doing emotional intelligence. Older adolescents benefit more from structured therapeutic interventions because they possess greater megacognitive capacity. Likewise, leaders who cultivate reflective depth respond more effectively to complex crises. So existential leadership is developmental. It grows through reflection, adversity, and accountability. Why relationships matter. Data from intervention studies reveal something powerful. Therapist-led group-based interventions outperform unguided digital formats. Why? Because transformation is relational. So in leadership, relationship, if you want to be virtuous in leadership, you must focus on relationships. So in leadership, digital dashboards cannot replace moral presence. Data analytics cannot replace ethical dialogue. And leadership remains profoundly human. Pluralism and moral courage. Modern societies are plural, We differ in religion, ideology, culture, and identity, but existential leadership does not seek uniformity. It seeks dignity. In pluralistic societies, leadership requires protecting minority voices, resisting moral simplification, and holding tension without fragmentation. That is a challenge we are having now in East Africa, holding tension without fragmentation. We are now beginning to worry about our elections coming, and we hope the tension of elections will not make us fragment. So it requires courage without coercion. So what does existential leadership look like today? It looks like a university leader defending academic freedom under political pressure. A corporate executive choosing sustainability over quarterly gain. That's what existential leadership is all about. A policymaker acknowledging uncertainty transparently rather than project false certainty. A technologist embedding ethical oversight into AI architecture. This is very, very important. Ethical oversight into AI architecture. So existential leadership is not noise. No, it is depth. It is bringing in the human consideration in leadership in spite of all these advances, globalization, technology, and the rest. So what are the 5 pillars of existential leadership? Radical responsibility, authentic agency, meaning construction, knowing the meaning, courageous decision-making, and ethical stewardship. If you are very keen, note that we are drifting again towards moral authority. And these pillars anchor leadership when systems want to collapse. A final question to all of us. In the end, existential leadership asks one question. Not what is efficient, not what is popular, but what is worth choosing. Because every decision shapes not only policy, but identity, not only outcomes, but meaning and implications. So conclusion, we stand in an era of AI, climate fragility, we have a lot of this institutional distrust and accelerating uncertainty. The leaders who will endure are not merely strategic, they are existential. And this is an aspect I want you to carry forward from this class, existential leadership. They understand that freedom carries responsibility, anxiety signals moral seriousness, meaning sustains endurance, and authenticity builds trust. And when history asks what we chose, may it be said, we chose courage, we chose responsibility, we chose meaning. Thank you. This was my presentation at CCCU. I'll be sending it to you as a paper to expand your thinking around leadership. Nimeshukuru sana. Thank you very much. Today has been a very interesting class. And over to you, Dr. Mwaka or Nazarene or Meshach or the rest of the class. Thank you very much.
We can acknowledge with the emojis and have just maybe 1 or 3 reactions on that presentation at the CCU meeting here in the US. Anyone with a reaction? Yes, Benson Mutembei. At least, Benson, I know you got back your proposal, your chapter 1. Yes, go ahead.
Is that Mutembei?
Yes. Mutembei, and then, yes, we have Vincent. Yes, Mutembei, we can't hear you. Your mic is on, but you're not talking. Okay.
Sorry for that.
Okay.
I have some network issues, but I'm following through. Come again. You asked a question.
No, you lifted. You wanted. Well, I don't know what you wanted to say. I just said that your feedback, your reaction.
Maybe you just ask Vincent to.
Okay, Vincent, go ahead. Vincent? Pascal? Taking notes. Yes, Pascal.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate Professor's sharing with us the speech. We've gotten an opportunity to listen to and to read from a speech that was presented to other people, other higher ranking people than us, and now we've got an opportunity to have a look at it and to try to understand it and try to make a meaning of it. So personally, one of the most of the points in the speech have inspired me, but one of the things that stood out to me was the fact that human can endure anything if they understand the meaning.
Yes, yes.
And in today's world, we work in a very we work and live in a very challenging world, challenging environment, and I've found out that if people know why they are doing something, then they will have the motivation to continue doing it, even if the task is very challenging. I work in a mental health setting where sometimes we deal with aggression and violence. And as I work every day, as all the times I work, I'm always the shift leader, and I have to delegate tasks to my staff. Sometimes they are very challenging. But when I start the shift, what I like saying is that, guys, we are going to have a good shift. We are going to have a safe shift, and we are going to work as a team to make everyone safe. And so as I delegate the task, I try to also tell my staff why I've chosen them for that task, and also allow them to ask for support if they can. So if they appreciate the reason why they are chosen for the task and they know that they have got the ability to do the task, they enjoy it. And most of the times we always have, safe and successful shifts. So now that it has been highlighted in this speech as well, I'm going to make it part of me to try to be motivated by the meaning or by the purpose of what I'm doing, regardless of the challenges I'm facing in achieving the objectives I want to achieve. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Right. So we can just have, yes, Vincent, go ahead. Then we can just have those two because of time.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof. Apologies. I was just having a little trouble with unmuting. And apologies about not being on video. Today I'm also on transit, and I thought the background will distract colleagues. I really, really appreciate the session, and thankful about the lessons that are pretty applicable as I heard you take us through this session. Some of my takeaways that if one needs the office to validate their leadership, then they're probably not the leader. And from the speech you presented, I can see how leadership is not confined to a discipline. It's cross-cutting. It's as if on the plane of leadership is where life really happens, because I can see that speech speaking about existential leadership and cutting across from AI, climate change, and just essentially about life and making meaning of life, and also projecting or bring about advancement in life and human society. So I really appreciate that, sir. I also have a question I wanted to ask you. As you execute, or as you do the work, let me call it that way, as you do the work, which you also equated earlier with worship, which validates one's leadership. And then the accolades begin to come, and the appreciation and the acknowledgement, as has happened in today's class, and as is happening in the different examples that you're giving us. How do you maintain soberness? Thank you.
Yeah, I think one running word is humility. Humility, putting on that apron of humility and attributing what you're able to do to God. That is very important. And the ultimate in leadership must always be service. You see, my brother, if I decided right now, this is a Saturday, I have a driver outside there with a vehicle. What is the best alternative? To sit in a classroom or to drive to Nakuru and have a weekend there and go to the game park and come back? So I think just like these health workers here, health workers endure or overcome praise and acknowledgement. Here, we are told health workers endure exhaustion, uchovu, because they believe their work matters. And so you are able to contain all these things. If you don't believe in positional equity, then service will be a priority. Yeah, thank you. Carol, Mwaka, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. So we just have those two. We can have Sylvester and Orunga, and then we close on that reflection. And then the last person to speak, so that will be Orunga. You will give a vote of thanks to the VC for this and ourselves for being in class. So Sylvester, then Ian.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Doc. You know, I'm just listening to Prof, and now it comes to my understanding or my realization that why you carry the burden for raising great leaders in Kenya, in Africa, and the world. Because I could hear it from your speech and from your voice. And I kept asking myself, when I see the newspapers, when I read the newspapers, when I look at our leaders, I just realized, indeed, we have mediocres, if I can use that word for loud. We have mediocres instead of leaders. The way they talk, it shows, indeed, they don't carry the meaning. They don't carry that burden. They don't carry that courage, that responsibility. They're like, we have just put people there to be puppets instead of understanding that servanthood, that, you know, and this reflection is it's really teaching me a lot of things, and I'm really humble even to be in this class. And thank you so much, and may God keep you and honor you. Amen.
Thank you, Sylvester. Okay, Orunga, can we close it?
Thank you for the opportunity, Prof. And Dr. Ayiro. I would start by a few remarks from the keynote lecture that you just shared. It reminded me that meaning fuels endurance, as it's stated in one of the key statements that you pointed out. It speaks my heart in a way. As existential leaders, I think we are challenged to lead from a deep sense of purpose, and we need to be grounded in who we are, why we lead, and also think of the cause that we serve. And when the meaning is clear, then of course resilience follows, and the leadership becomes not just about the influence, but then it also becomes about the faithfulness in stewarding the mission that's greater than ourselves. Yeah, this way it becomes easier to lead, and of course we end up facing less or no resistance. But then sadly, for the meaning to be perceived by everyone that you're leading, it requires time. And of course, that means that we need to be patient. And maybe that's why most of us struggle with being the existential leaders that we need to be, because we want to strive for quick results. Maybe as a last comment regarding the whole lecture, it has been a wonderful class today. And Prof has shared rich insights from his leadership experiences at Daystar. He's offered clear examples of how he touches hearts. And in doing so, he also builds a body of organic followers. Rather than forcing compliance, his leadership has been inspiring intrinsic drive. And this is clearly evident in the examples that he had shared from his days in Lubinu, Sunshine, and now at Daystar. And of course, many more opportunities to come. Yeah, the experiences and testimonies that have also been shared by our classmates were equally inspiring. And they served as an encouragement and a reminder that many leaders are leading with clean hearts, and they're driven by a bigger purpose and a shared conviction that we are a part of a mission that's greater than ourselves. The sharing, I think, has also deepened our connection as a class, and it has allowed us to also learn from each other and be challenged by what our friends and classmates are engaged in relation to leadership in the various places that we are serving in, as we've heard from people from different places in the country and in the world. So I really appreciate that the classes, personally, I appreciate that the class is held on Saturdays. It gives us space to think and reflect and also apply the lessons in the week ahead. Because of course, we are going to start a new week tomorrow. At least there's something to think about, and we are challenged as people who are practicing leadership to do our best and to do different things that will make us greater leaders. And I look forward to the next conversation on the art of institutional leadership next Saturday. And of course, as we also talk more about leadership. Thank you, Prof, and thank you, Dr.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, your class text, I want us to run. We are lagging behind. So can we run from chapter 6 to chapter 12 as our reading? Chapter 6 to chapter 12 with the Nazarene. I hope you are following up with the necessary summaries. But something has struck me today, just now. The gentleman who has just read, Ian, what's your background? What's your background, academic? Yeah.
Academically, I've done a degree in management information systems at Daystar. But currently, I'm involved so much in mentorship, student ministry, and also in sports coaching, field hockey.
I've listened to you, and from my deep intellectual chambers, I'm very impressed at your thought processes. Unbelievable.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. You'll go very far. Obviously, you have done a lot of reading, the way you're connecting ideas. So I'm going to go back to the recording and just listen to you. And I would want to interest you in deepening your reading and perspectives. I'm actually glowing inside that we have a student of that level, plus many others I've listened to, and I always bring this out. I love the enthusiasm of Sylvester, a very positive attitude. I think he likes eating apples, or are they oranges? But what a delight, all of you. So thank you very much. And Ian, take me seriously. I've felt something about you. Over to you, Dr. Markham, and may I leave, please?
Thank you so much, Prof. We're really happy, and we have also learned. Students, you have your evening. I know you have so much, but just remember you have just about like 4 months to finish the whole program, as you were. So, this is how we move in, and we are almost there done. So I really appreciate you and hope to see you again. Let's get back on our WhatsApp. Prof, I don't know whether you wanted Drucker's document on the leap of faith, which other different document?
Yeah, that one, Leap of Faith. Have it circulated. Let them start reading the first part.
All right, so it's on WhatsApp. I've even shared on this chat. You can download on WhatsApp, but I'll also get it on to have it shared on your WhatsApp and other places that we need. And of course, Meshach is. Thank you, Meshach, always sitting in, since the program began. You're a code too, and thank you, Nazarene, for joining us. George Ilala, Wendo Vaya Shati. Let me close this before George. We see many things. Thank you so much.